The metal floor was cold beneath Jinwoo's feet. He walked in a line with 5 other humans, all wearing the same gray prison clothes. Giant insect-like creatures pushed them forward with long metal poles. These were the Valdris, their captors. They were twice as tall as humans, with hard shells covering their bodies and too many eyes to count. Jinwoo looked back at his group. Do-hyun, the youngest at 25, tried to keep his face brave, but his hands were shaking. Hanul walked silently, his eyes taking in every detail of the corridor. Nari had her jaw set tight, angry but controlled. Hana kept close to Yuna, the youngest member of their group, who looked terrified. They were all engineers. They had been working on a colony ship, building humanity's future among the stars. Then the Valdris ships had come. The battle was quick. The colony ship never stood a chance. "Keep moving, pray things," one of the Valdris guards clicked in their language. The translation device in Jinwoo's ear turned it into words he could understand. They entered a large room with windows that showed a massive forest inside a dome. The trees were strange colors, purple and orange instead of green. A Valdris commander stood waiting, bigger than the others, with red markings on its shell. "Humans," the commander said. Its voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Your species has entered Valdris space. We must determine your worth. Are you intelligent beings deserving of worker status? Or are you simply animals prey to be hunted?" Jinwoo felt his heart pounding. He had heard stories about species that disappeared after meeting the Valdris. No one knew what happened to them. "We've prepared a test," the commander continued. "You will be placed in our biodome. It contains everything you need to survive. Water, food sources, materials. You will have 3 days. 3 days for what?" Nari asked, her voice sharp. The commander's eyes focused on her. 3 days before you die. Or prove yourselves worthy." Another Valdris stepped forward, this one wearing what looked like scientist robes. "We will release 6 Raxith cubs into the dome. They are predators from a death world. They have not eaten in 7 days. They will hunt you." Yuna made a small sound of fear. Hana grabbed her hand. "If you survive 3 days," the commander said, "your species will be granted worker status in the Valdris Empire. If you die, humanity will be classified as non-sentient prey. Your entire species will be processed for resources." Do-hyun stepped forward. "That's insane. You're judging billions of people based on 6 of us. That is the law," the commander said simply. "You are the first humans we captured. You represent your kind. The test begins in 1 hour." Guards pulled them toward another door. Jinwoo's mind raced. They needed a plan. They needed hope. But what chance did 6 engineers have against starving predators? They were taken to a preparation room. On a metal table lay their supplies: 6 crude knives made of sharpened stone, 2 fire-starting kits, 3 empty water containers, and some rope. Nothing else. No tools, no technology, nothing that made them engineers. "This is a death sentence," Hanul said quietly. "They're not testing us. They're executing us." "No," Jinwoo said firmly. "Think about it. They're watching us, recording everything. If they just wanted us dead, they'd kill us. They want to see how we respond." Nari picked up one of the knives. "So we're entertainment." "We're proof," Hana said softly. Everyone looked at her. "Proof of what humans can do. We need to show them something they don't expect." "Like what?" Yuna asked. "We're not fighters. We build things. We fix things. How does that help against monsters?" Jinwoo looked at the knife in his hand, then at his team. They were scared, so was he. But Hana was right. They weren't warriors, they were engineers. Maybe that was exactly what they needed to be. "We do what we do best," Jinwoo said. "We build. We engineer our survival." The guards came too soon. They collected the supplies and pushed the humans toward a large door. Beyond it, Jinwoo could see the forest in the dome. It looked peaceful, almost beautiful, but he knew death was waiting inside. "Any final words, pray things?" the commander asked. Jinwoo looked at the massive insect creature. "We'll surprise you." The door opened. They were pushed inside. The door slammed shut behind them. The forest was warm and humid. Strange bird-like creatures made sounds in the trees. A river ran somewhere nearby. Jinwoo could hear it. "What now?" Do-hyun asked. "Now we move," Jinwoo said. "We need water first. Then shelter. Then we plan." They walked carefully through the forest. Hanul led the way, pointing out plants and explaining which ones might be safe. His training in environmental systems was already proving useful. They found the river after 10 minutes of walking. "Good water source," Hanul said, testing it with his fingers. "Clean and flowing. We can drink this. Look around, Jinwoo ordered. We need a defendable position. Somewhere we can see them coming. Nari found it, a clearing near the river with tall trees on 3 sides and open space on the 4th. The trees were thick and strong. This could work, she said. If we build up, they can't reach us easily. Build what? Yuna asked. We have nothing. Hana picked up a fallen branch. We have this. We have rope. We have knowledge. She smiled slightly. We have everything we need. They worked as the sun moved across the artificial sky. Do-hyun climbed the trees, testing branches for strength. Nari and Jinwoo cut branches and vines, creating building materials. Hanul found food sources, strange fruits that looked safe and fish in the river. Hana and Yuna designed the structure, calculating weight and stress points in the dirt with sticks. As darkness fell, they had built a platform 6 feet off the ground, suspended between 3 trees. It was rough but solid. They had a fire going below and water stored in their containers. They had caught fish and gathered fruit. Sitting on their platform eating their meal, Jinwoo looked at his team. They were exhausted but alive, and they had done something their captors probably didn't expect. They had started building a home. They're coming tomorrow, Hanul said quietly. The cubs. We all know that. Let them come, Nari said. We'll be ready. But Yuna was staring out into the dark forest. Do you hear that? They all went silent. In the distance, carried on the wind, came a sound. A howling, hungry sound. Not one voice, but many. The Raxith cubs had been released early. Jinwoo stood up, gripping his knife. Everyone up here now, don't move. Don't make sounds. They waited in the darkness. The howling grew closer, then stopped. The forest went completely silent. Somewhere in that silence, 6 predators were hunting, and 6 humans were about to discover that the test had truly begun. Dawn came slowly to the biodome. Jinwoo had not slept. None of them had. They sat on their platform, watching the forest below, waiting. The howling had stopped hours ago, but that somehow made it worse. There, Hanul whispered, pointing. Through the trees, something moved, then another shape, then more. The Raxith cubs emerged into the clearing like ghosts made solid. They were terrifying. Each one was the size of a large wolf, but they looked like reptiles mixed with something worse. Their skin was dark green and covered in scales. Sharp crystalline spikes grew along their spines, glowing faintly in the morning light. Their heads were long with too many teeth. Their eyes were yellow and focused, 6 of them. 6 cubs, the Valdris had said. But cubs were supposed to be small and cute. These were killing machines. Don't move, Jinwoo breathed. Stay absolutely still. The cubs circled the platform. They sniffed the air, their heads turning to track the humans above. One of them made a clicking sound. Another answered. They were communicating. They're pack hunters, Hanul whispered very quietly. Smart ones. The largest cub, probably the alpha, moved to the base of their tree. It looked up directly at Jinwoo. Their eyes met. Jinwoo felt his blood turn cold. The creature's intelligence was obvious. This wasn't a mindless animal. This was a thinking predator. The alpha jumped. Its claws dug into the tree bark. It climbed fast, too fast. Nari grabbed her knife. But before the creature reached the platform, Do-hyun kicked at the supports they had made. Part of the platform shifted. The movement surprised the alpha. It fell back to the ground, landing on its feet. We can't stay here forever, Nari said. We don't have to, Jinwoo replied. Look at them. The cubs had backed off slightly. They were circling again, but at a distance. One of them, smaller than the others, was limping. It kept its left back leg raised, not putting weight on it. That one's injured, Hana said. Look at its leg. The small cub fell behind the others. It tried to keep up, but couldn't. The other cubs ignored it, focused on the platform and the humans. They're starving, Hanul observed. Look at their ribs. You can see their bones. The Valdris really didn't feed them. Yuna had been silent until now. They're just babies, she said suddenly. What? Do-hyun asked. Cubs, that's what the Valdris called them. They're young. Maybe they don't even know how to hunt properly yet. Yuna pointed at the injured one. That one can barely walk. Hana was staring at the small cub. They separated them from their mother. Starved them. And now they're watching to see if we'll kill each other. That's the test, Nari said bitterly. Prey versus predator. They want blood, the cubs continued their vigil. Hours passed. The sun grew hot. The humans drank their water carefully. Below, the cubs waited. They looked tired, hungry, desperate. We have food, Hana said suddenly. What? Everyone asked together. The fish we caught last night. The fruit. We have food up here. She looked at Jinwoo. They're starving. No, Do-hyun said immediately. Absolutely not. You feed them, they'll just get stronger and kill us better. Or, Hana said carefully, they'll realize we're not just prey. Jinwoo thought about it. His engineer mind worked through the problem. They couldn't stay on the platform forever. They needed water from the river. They needed to move. And these cubs would follow them everywhere. Fighting was impossible. 6 against 6, but the cubs had claws and teeth and were built for killing. But what if there was another way? The injured one, Jinwoo said slowly. It's separate from the group. Hana, do you think you could help it? Help it? Nari stared at him. It's a predator. It's a hurt animal, Hana corrected. Yes, I think I could. If it let me. This is crazy, Do-hyun said. This whole situation is crazy, Jinwoo replied. We're 6 engineers in a death arena being watched by aliens who want us to fail. Maybe crazy is exactly what we need. He picked up one of their caught fish. Let's try something. The other cubs had moved away, searching for easier prey in the forest. But the injured one remained, lying in the shade of a tree, panting. It couldn't keep up with its pack. Jinwoo climbed down carefully from the platform. His team protested, but he kept going. His heart hammered in his chest. This could be the stupidest thing he'd ever done. Or the smartest. He stopped 10 feet from the injured cub. It lifted its head, watching him. Its yellow eyes showed pain and hunger and something else, fear. It was afraid. A baby separated from its family, hurt and starving. Hey there, Jinwoo said softly. He held out the fish. Hungry? The cub's eyes fixed on the food. It made a small whimpering sound. Jinwoo tossed the fish. It landed a few feet from the cub. The creature lunged forward, grabbed the fish, and ate it in 3 bites. Then it looked at Jinwoo again, still hungry but less hostile. From the platform, Hana called down, I'm coming too. Hana, no, Yuna cried. But Hana was already climbing down with her medical supplies, the crude tools they'd made from plant materials and clean cloth torn from their clothes. She approached slowly, holding out another fish. The cub ate it. Then Hana knelt down, still several feet away. Your leg hurts, doesn't it? She said gently. I can help, but you have to trust me. The cub tilted its head, like it was considering. Hana moved closer, inch by inch. The cub could kill her with one swipe. They all knew it. But it didn't move. It watched as Hana came near enough to touch it. Good, Hana breathed. Very good. This might hurt a little. She examined the leg carefully. There was a deep cut, infected and swollen. Using water from her container and cloth, she cleaned it. The cub growled but didn't pull away. Then she applied a paste Hanul had made from antibacterial plants and wrapped the leg with clean cloth. There, Hana said, sitting back. Better? The cub put its leg down carefully. It still hurt, but less. The creature looked at Hana for a long moment. Then it did something incredible. It made a soft chirping sound and touched its nose to her hand. Did that just... Do-hyun started from the platform. I think it said thank you, Yuna whispered. The other cubs returned at sunset. They found the injured one lying near the human platform, no longer limping as badly. They found the humans sitting peacefully eating their meal, and they found fish laid out on the ground, an offering. The alpha approached cautiously. It sniffed the fish. Then it looked up at Jinwoo. The human and the predator stared at each other. Jinwoo slowly pushed another fish off the platform. It landed near the alpha. The alpha ate it. Then it settled down near the injured cub. One by one, the other cubs came forward. They ate what was offered. And they stayed. That night, the 6 humans slept on their platform. And below them, 6 Raxith cubs stood guard, protecting the strange creatures who had shown them kindness instead of fear. In the Valdris observation station, alarms were ringing. This wasn't how the test was supposed to go. This wasn't how prey behaved. Commander Thexus watched the screens with growing anger, while researcher Quorum watched with fascination. Something unprecedented was happening in the biodome, and the whole galaxy was watching. The morning of the 2nd day brought strange peace. Jinwoo woke to find the cubs still there, sleeping in a circle around the base of the platform. The injured one, which Yuna had started calling Spot because of a lighter patch on its head, was curled up closest to the tree where Hana had slept. They stayed, Una said with wonder in her voice. They actually stayed. They're still predators, Nari warned. Don't forget that. Predators who chose not to eat us, Do-hyun pointed out. That counts for something. Hanul was watching the cubs carefully. They're young, maybe just months old. At this age they should be with their mother, learning to hunt. Instead, the Valdris took them, starved them, and threw them at us. Child soldiers, Hana said quietly. That's what they are. Children turned into weapons. Jinwoo felt anger rise in his chest, not at the cubs, but at the Valdris. This wasn't a fair test. This was cruelty disguised as science. We have 1 day left, he said. 1 more day to prove ourselves. I think we need to do more than just survive. We need to show them something they've never seen before. Like what? Nari asked. Jinwoo looked down at the cubs. Like cooperation. Like building something together. They started slowly. The humans came down from their platform, moving carefully. The cubs woke up, watching but not attacking. Jinwoo offered fish for breakfast. The cubs ate, then sat watching what the humans would do next. We need better shelter, Jinwoo announced to his team. The platform is good, but not enough. We need something that protects us from weather, from other dangers. Something permanent. A cabin? To-hyun suggested. More like several cabins. A small village. Jinwoo turned to the cubs. And you'll need homes, too. The cubs tilted their heads, confused but interested. They worked through the morning. Do-hyun and Hanul cut down smaller trees and gathered branches. Nari and Yuna designed structures, drawing plans in the dirt. Hana checked on Spot's leg and changed the bandage. Jinwoo organized everything, directing the work. The cubs watched. At first, they just sat there curious. But then something remarkable happened. The Alpha, which Do-hyun had named Echo because of how it mimicked sounds, picked up a fallen branch in its jaws and carried it to where the humans were building. Everyone stopped and stared. Echo dropped the branch and sat back, looking proud of itself. Did it just help? Yuna asked. Jinwoo laughed despite himself. He reached out slowly and patted Echo's head. Good, very good. Thank you. Echo made a pleased chirping sound. After that, the other cubs started helping too. They couldn't understand complex instructions, but they could watch and learn. They dragged logs. They cleared brush. When Do-hyun showed them how to pile branches in a specific spot, they did it. This is incredible, Hanul said. They're learning from us in real time. They're social creatures, Hana explained. Pack animals. They learn by watching and doing. We're teaching them to build. By midday, they had the frame of a main shelter built. It was rough but strong, using engineering principles to make sure it would hold. The cubs had their own smaller structures being built nearby, dens made from branches and leaves protected from wind and rain. Spot followed Hana everywhere. The little cub had clearly decided she was its new mother. It watched everything she did with intense focus. When she showed it how to weave branches together, Spot tried to copy her, using its claws to hook and pull. You're a smart one, aren't you? Hana said gently, helping the cub with its weaving. Yuna was working with 2 other cubs, teaching them simple signals. She'd point at water and they'd look at the river. She'd point at fish and they'd understand. She was building a basic communication system. They understand more than we thought, Yuna told Jinwoo. They're really smart. Maybe as smart as dogs, maybe smarter. The Valdris called them mindless predators, Nari said bitterly. But look at them. They're children who needed guidance, not weapons. In the observation station, the Valdris were arguing loudly. Half of them wanted to terminate the experiment immediately. This wasn't what they expected. This wasn't prey running and predators hunting. This was cooperation. This was teaching. This was society being built. Commander Thexus slammed his clawed hand on the console. This is corruption. The humans are manipulating the Raxith. This proves they're dangerous. But researcher Quorum was recording everything with fascination. This proves they're intelligent. More than intelligent. They're transformative. In less than 2 days, they've taken predators and turned them into partners. Do you understand how unprecedented this is? It's a trick, Thexus insisted. Then let's test it further, Quorum suggested. Let's see how far this goes. Back in the dome, the afternoon brought a storm. The artificial weather system created rain and wind. The humans and cubs rushed to their shelters. The main cabin wasn't finished, but it was enough to keep them dry. All 12 of them crowded inside, 6 humans and 6 cubs. It was cramped, but it was warm. Hana treated minor injuries that everyone had gotten from building. Hanul passed around food. The cubs curled up, their body heat helping to warm the space. "This is weird, right?" Do-hyun said. "I mean, we're having a sleepover with alien predators." "Very weird," Yuna agreed. But she was smiling, petting the cub next to her. Spot was sleeping with its head in Hana's lap. Echo was pressed against Do-hyun's side. The other cubs had claimed their own humans to sleep near. "They trust us," Hanul said quietly. "Completely." "We trust them too," Jinwoo realized. "When did that happen?" "When we chose kindness instead of fear," Hana answered. That night as the storm raged outside, Jinwoo thought about the test. They had one more day to prove humanity deserved to exist in the Valdris Empire. But what had they really proven? They'd proven that humans didn't see the world the way the Valdris did. The Valdris saw hierarchy, dominance and submission, predator and prey. But humans saw potential. They saw children who needed help. They saw partners who could learn and grow. Maybe that was the real test. Not whether humans could survive, but whether they could show the Valdris a different way of existing. As dawn broke on the third day, the storm had passed. The humans and cubs emerged from their shelter to find something waiting. In the night, someone had delivered supplies, more rope, better tools, even some dried food. A gift from researcher Quorum, Hanul read from a note attached. "Keep building," Jinwoo smiled. They had an ally among the Valdris, but he also knew they had enemies. The test wasn't over. In fact, he suspected the hardest part was still coming. "All right," he called to both humans and cubs. "Today we finish what we started. Today we build something they can't ignore." The cubs chirped in response, ready to work. And in the observation station, Commander Thexus was making a call to his superiors, requesting permission to escalate the test. If kindness was how humans fought, then he would show them cruelty. He would show them that the galaxy wasn't ready for their dangerous ideas about cooperation. He would teach them that hierarchy existed for a reason. The third day started with hope. By noon, that hope was being tested in ways none of them expected. The temperature in the dome had dropped dramatically. What had been warm and humid yesterday was now cold enough to see their breath. The artificial weather system had been changed. "This isn't natural," Hanul said, shivering. "Someone's controlling this, making it harder for us." The cubs huddled together for warmth, confused by the sudden change. They made distressed sounds. Spot pressed against Hana, seeking her body heat. "They're cold-blooded," Hana realized. "Or partly. They can't regulate their temperature well. This could kill them." "That's the point," Nari said grimly. "Someone wants this to fail." Jinwoo looked at their half-finished structures. The cold would kill them all if they didn't act fast. Change of plans. "We build one large shelter, big enough for all of us, insulated and warm." They worked faster than before, racing against the dropping temperature. The cubs helped however they could, but their movements were getting slower. The cold was affecting them badly. Do-hyun and Echo worked together to drag large branches. Do-hyun had learned that if he showed Echo what he needed, the cub would understand. They had become a team. When Do-hyun slipped on ice forming on the ground, Echo was there, steadying him with its body. "Thanks, buddy," Do-hyun said, patting Echo's head. Yuna and her two cubs, which she'd named Chirp and Click for the sounds they made, were gathering leaves and moss for insulation. The cubs' smaller size let them get into places the humans couldn't reach. Nari and Hanul built a fireplace in the center of the new structure, using stones from the river. They needed a safe way to keep fire burning without setting everything ablaze. By sunset, they had created something remarkable. A large communal shelter with thick walls made of branches, leaves, and packed earth. A stone fireplace in the center with a hole in the roof for smoke to escape. Insulated sleeping areas around the edges. It was rough, but it would work. They got the fire going just as darkness fell. The warmth spread through the shelter. All 12 of them settled in, humans and cubs mixed together. The cubs had stopped shivering and were making content sounds. "We did it," Yuna said tiredly. "We actually did it. For now," Jinwoo said. But this was just the first challenge. He was right. The next morning brought the second challenge. The food was gone. Not just eaten, gone. The fish they'd stored, the fruit they'd gathered, even the dried food from researcher Quorum. All of it had been removed during the night. "Someone came in while we slept," Hanul said, checking the tracks outside. Multiple someones. Valdris guards. The cubs were hungry and confused. The humans weren't much better, but they had learned skills over the past days. They knew how to fish now, how to gather food. How to survive, we split up, Jinwoo decided. Hanul, Nari, you take 3 cubs and fish. Hana, Yuna, you take 2 cubs and gather what plants you can find. Dohyun and I will work with Echo to hunt. Hunt? Dohyun asked. Echo's a predator. We're not. But maybe together we can catch something. It worked better than expected. Echo knew how to track prey. Dohyun and Jinwoo knew how to make traps. Together they caught 2 rabbit-like creatures. The fishing team brought back enough fish for everyone. The gathering team found edible roots and fruits. They prepared food together, teaching the cubs which parts were good to eat. The cubs taught them which plants they naturally avoided, warning the humans about poisonous ones. We're becoming a real pack, Hana observed, watching Spot help sort through plants with its nose. Mixed species, but a pack. That afternoon, they expanded their compound. They built a food storage area, high off the ground where scavengers couldn't reach. They created a medical area where Hana could treat injuries. They even built a water filtration system, using what Nari knew about purification and what Hanul knew about environmental systems. The cubs had their own spaces too. Individual dens connected to the main shelter so they could have privacy but stay close to the pack. It's like a village, Yuna said proudly. A real village. But in the observation station, Commander Thexus was furious. Every challenge he created, the humans overcame. Worse, they overcame them with the help of the Raxith cubs. The predators that were supposed to kill them had become their partners. Enough, Thexus said. I'm ending this farce. You can't, researcher Corim protested. The test isn't complete. They have until sunset. The test is invalid. The results are compromised. Thexus pressed a button. I'm introducing a real threat. Let's see how their cooperation handles actual danger. Alarms blared in the biodome. Jinwoo looked up, confused. Then he saw it. On the far side of the dome, a large door was opening. A door that had been sealed, and through it came something terrifying. 3 adult Raxith. Not cubs. Full-grown predators, each twice the size of the cubs. Their crystalline spikes were longer, sharper. Their teeth were like daggers. And they looked furious. Oh no, Hanul breathed. Those aren't part of the test. The adult Raxith roared, a sound that shook the ground. They had been starved too. And they were hunting. The cubs panicked. They'd never seen adult Raxith before. They'd been taken from their mother too young. Their instinct told them to run. But run where? Everyone to the compound, Jinwoo shouted. Now, they ran. The cubs followed, terrified. Behind them, the 3 adults charged. They were fast, much faster than the cubs. One of them caught up to Chirp, Yuna's cub. It opened its massive jaws to attack. Echo slammed into the adult, knocking it aside. The young cub was no match for an adult, but it bought enough time. Chirp escaped, running for the compound. They made it inside and immediately started fortifying. Dohyun and Hanul built barriers at the entrance. Nari created traps from rope and sharpened stakes. Hana armed everyone with weapons, crude spears and clubs made from wood and stone. The adult Raxith circled the compound, looking for weaknesses. They were smart, calculating. They didn't just charge in blindly. They'll attack at night, Hanul predicted, when we can't see as well. Then we prepare for night, Jinwoo said. They worked through the afternoon, turning their peaceful compound into a fortress. The cubs helped, their fear turning into determination. These humans had protected them, fed them, healed them. Now it was their turn to protect the pack. As darkness fell, Jinwoo looked at their group. 6 humans and 6 cubs standing together against a threat neither could face alone. They had weapons. They had fortifications. They had fire. But most importantly, they had each other. Whatever happens, Jinwoo said to everyone, human and cub alike, we fight as one. We're not prey. We're not just predators. We're something new. Something they never expected. Echo chirped in agreement. The other cubs echoed the sound. The humans nodded. Outside, in the darkness, 3 adult Raxith began their attack. But inside the compound, 12 defenders stood ready. The real test was about to begin. The first attack came at midnight. One of the adult Raxith charged the main entrance, trying to break through their barriers. But Nari's traps worked. Ropes tangled its legs. Sharpened stakes made it pull back, roaring in pain and anger. The cubs responded with their own roars, challenging the intruder. They were small, but they were defending their home. Second one coming from the left. Dohyun shouted. They had posted watchers on all sides. Dohyun and Echo were a team, the human's eyes and the cub's hearing working together. They spotted the threat before it reached the walls. Hanul threw a burning branch. The adult Raxith dodged, but the fire made it hesitate. Fire was a human tool. Fire was something it didn't understand. The third adult tried to climb over the back wall, but Yuna was ready. She'd set up a simple but effective defense. Loose branches balanced on the wall. When the weight of the adult hit them, they fell, making noise and alerting everyone. Chirp and Click joined her, their sharp cries warning the others. They're testing us, Jinwoo realized, looking for weak spots. Then we show them we don't have any, Nari said grimly. The attacks continued through the night. Each time, the adults tried a different approach. Each time, humans and cubs worked together to drive them back. They used fire, traps, weapons, and teamwork. The compound held, but they were getting tired. The adults were too. By dawn, everyone was exhausted. Why are they doing this? Hana asked, changing the bandage on Echo's scratched shoulder. The young cub had fought bravely, protecting Dohyun from a direct attack. This wasn't part of the test. Someone's trying to make us fail, Jinwoo said. Someone who's afraid of what we're proving. In the observation station, researcher Quorum was shouting at Commander Thexus. You've violated every protocol. You could have killed them all. That was the point, Thexus said coldly. These humans are dangerous. They corrupt everything they touch. Even predators become weak around them. Weak? Quorum pointed at the screens showing the battle. You call that weak? 6 engineers with no weapons training just defended against 3 adult Raxith, and 6 cubs who should have run away instead fought to protect them. That's not corruption. That's evolution. That's cooperation at its highest level. It's chaos, Thexus insisted. The natural order exists for a reason. Predators hunt, prey runs. The strong dominate the weak. That's how the galaxy works. Maybe that's how it worked, Quorum said quietly. But they're showing us a different way. More Valdris officials had arrived during the night, drawn by the controversy. The test had become the most watched event in the Empire. Everyone had opinions about what it meant. In the compound, morning brought an uneasy peace. The adult Raxith had retreated, tired and frustrated. They hadn't expected this kind of resistance. How long can we keep this up? Yuna asked. She was exhausted, covered in dirt and small cuts. As long as we need to, Jinwoo answered. But he knew they couldn't sustain this forever. They needed help. They needed the test to end. As if reading his thoughts, a voice boomed across the biodome. It came from speakers hidden in the artificial sky. Attention. The test period has ended. Stand down and await judgment. The adult Raxith seemed to hear it too. They backed away from the compound, confused but obedient. They'd been trained to follow Valdris commands. Large doors opened near the compound. Valdris guards entered, heavily armed. Leading them was researcher Quorum, who looked both excited and worried. Please, Quorum called out. Come out peacefully. No one will be harmed. Jinwoo looked at his team, then at the cubs. They were all scared. After everything they'd been through, after all they'd built together, what would happen now? We go together, Jinwoo decided. All of us. They judge humanity, they judge all of us. They emerged from the compound. 6 tired humans and 6 exhausted cubs. The guards stepped back nervously when they saw how the cubs stayed close to the humans, protective. Quorum approached carefully. His insect eyes studied them with fascination. Remarkable. Truly remarkable. You've survived 3 days, which means you've passed the basic test. But you've done so much more than that. Where are the adults? Nari asked, looking for the Raxith that had attacked them. Contained. What happened last night was not authorized. Commander Thexus has been arrested for interference with an official trial. Quorum moved closer to the compound, examining their structures. May I? Jinwoo nodded. They watched as Quorum toured their village. He saw the sleeping areas, the food storage, the medical station. He saw the individual dens built for the cubs. He saw the communal fire pit where they'd shared meals. You built a society, Quorum said with wonder. In 3 days, with no tools, you created a functioning multi-species community. The cubs trust you. You trust them. You've shared resources, knowledge, protection. That's what we do, Hana said simply. We help, we build. We cooperate. Even with those who were meant to kill you? Especially with them, Jinwoo replied. They were children. Scared and hungry, we couldn't just let them suffer. Spot limped over to Hana and pressed against her leg. Hana automatically reached down to pet the cub's head. The gesture was so natural, so caring. Echo chirped at Do-hyun, who smiled and scratched behind the cub's ear. Koreem watched all of this. Then he said, "Come with me. The High Council will decide your fate, and the fate of your species." They were transported to a massive chamber filled with Valdris officials. The 6 humans stood in the center, with the 6 cubs refusing to leave their sides. Around them, hundreds of insect eyes watched. Screens showed what had happened in the biodome over the past 3 days. A judge spoke, her voice amplified. "We have reviewed the evidence. The humans survived the trial period. By our laws, this grants them worker status and spares their species from classification as prey." Relief flooded through Jinwoo. They'd done it. Humanity was safe. But the judge wasn't finished. However, questions remain. The humans did not simply survive. They transformed the test itself. They turned predators into allies. They built civilization where we expected barbarism. This behavior is unprecedented. We must determine if it is dangerous. Dangerous? Jinwoo found his voice. "You starved children and watched to see if we'd kill each other. We showed you mercy instead. How is that dangerous?" "You corrupted the natural order," another Valdris official said. "Predators should hunt. Prey should run. You've confused these cubs, made them weak." Do-hyun stepped forward, Echo beside him. "Weak? These cubs defended us against adults twice their size. They learned to build, to cooperate, to think beyond instinct. That's not weakness. That's growth." Hana spoke next, her hand on Spot's head. "You see the universe as fixed. Strong versus weak, predator versus prey. But that's not natural order. That's just one way of existing. We showed you another way. A way where different species can help each other. Where everyone grows stronger together." The chamber erupted in arguments. Some Valdris officials agreed. Others were horrified. The debate raged for hours. Finally, researcher Quorum stood and spoke. "I propose a new classification. Not worker status. Not prey, something new. Cooperative species status. Recognizing that humans have a unique ability to form partnerships across species lines, an ability that could benefit the entire empire if we're wise enough to learn from it." The voting took hours. The humans waited, exhausted and nervous. The cubs sensed their worry and stayed close, offering comfort. When the final count came in, it was close. But it was enough. "Motion passes," the judge announced. "Humanity is granted cooperative species status. A first in Valdris history." Cheers and protests both erupted, but Jinwoo felt tears of relief. They'd done it. Not just survival, but something more. They'd changed the rules. What about them? Yuna asked, pointing to the cubs. "What happens to them?" Quorum smiled, an expression that looked strange on his insect face. "They stay with you, if you'll have them. They're yours now, your pack. Your family? Forever?" Hana asked, hugging Spot. "Forever." 3 months later, Jinwoo stood in the same biodome, but it wasn't a prison anymore. It was home. The compound had grown into a real village. More humans had come, freed from Valdris holding cells once humanity's status changed. More Raxith cubs had joined too, separated from their families by various circumstances. They all lived together, learning from each other. Yuna had started a school. She taught human children and Raxith cubs side by side. They learned math and language together. They learned cooperation. Do-hyun and Echo led hunting and gathering teams. Mixed groups that used both human intelligence and Raxith instincts to thrive. Nari and Hanul managed the engineering projects. They were building more homes, better systems, and they were teaching Valdris engineers who came to learn. Hana ran the medical center. She'd learned to treat both human and Raxith patients. Spot, now fully grown, assisted her. The powerful predator was gentle with patients, using its strength to help, not harm. Jinwoo watched it all with pride. They'd started with nothing but fear and hunger. Now they had hope and home. A young Valdris researcher approached him. "Sir, we're receiving requests from other species. They want to visit, to learn your methods, to understand cooperation." Jinwoo smiled. "Tell them they're welcome. We have a lot to teach, and a lot to learn." That evening, as the artificial sun set, Jinwoo gathered everyone for a meal. Humans and Raxith, adults and cubs all together.